sir.
Okay, so good morning everyone. So can we start?
Yes, sir.
You can use chat box. You can only use the chat box. Okay. Okay, so in the previous class we have already discussed about the evaluation component. Okay, so your midterm exam, your midterm exam, lab evaluation exam, the regular lab you are also getting the 10% weightage for regular lab, and the compre exam 35% weightage. And I have also given you the idea what types of question you can expect in your midterm exam, lab exam as well as the compre exam. Now today we are going to start the first class of our CP programming. So as we know the importance of the programming or importance of the software, if you are going for the any field nowadays, we are only start using the software. If you are going to compare the hardware cost with the software cost, then nowadays the software cost is much higher than your hardware cost. Because if you are going for the 9055, then in this case we are using we are developing the system for the specific purpose. We are not developing the system for the general purpose. But nowadays we are developing the system for the general purpose. As for example, so now assume that recently you have brought one system, Dell something like that with 8 GB RAM. Okay, and you are using for the C program. In the next semester, if you are going for the Java programming, there is no need to change the system. You have to only install the software related to the Java. Because this system is a general purpose system, you can use for many purpose. But when you are going to use for any purpose, first you have to install the related software. So as for example, if you are interested to use for the computer program, you have to install the GCC compiler or C++ compiler, or you can also code blocks, or you can also install another compiler that is related to the computer program. Same like that, when you are going to do the programming related to the Java, there is no need to change the hardware, there is no need to change the system, only you have to install the software. But when you are going to the 1955, in this case, we are developing the system for a specific purpose. If you are going to plan for the CP, then you have to brought one system. Next semester, if you are planning for Java, then you have to brought for another system, something like that. So nowadays, that's why we are giving. Okay, I'm going to. Yeah. So nowadays, that's why we are giving the more weightage to the software system. Even if you are going to join any hardware company, most of the novelty they are coming in the terms of software, not the terms of the hardware. Hardware is same, but they are only going to install the new type of software. They are only going to release the new version of the software to give the better facility to the user. So that's why nowadays most of the hardware company also start looking toward the software company, because most of the novelty, most of the research are coming in the terms of software. Okay. In this session, basically we will discuss one part of software, that is called the coding. We are not going to discuss the rest part of the software, but first we'll see if you are planning to develop any software, what are the procedures we will follow. If you are going to plan for develop any software, then these are the procedures we will follow. The first one is called the requirement. Second one is your design. Third one is your coding or development. You can write coding or development, where we will discuss about the C program. The next one is your, okay, I'm going to zoom in. Yeah. Next one is your testing. The next one your deployment, and after that the last phase is your maintenance. So these are the various stages of the software development lifecycle. So if you are planning to develop any software, first we will go for the requirement, then we will go for the design of the software, then we will go for the development, testing, deployment, and then after the final is your maintenance. Now we'll see one by one. What do you mean by requirement? What do you mean by design? What do you mean by development? How to test the system, deployment, and maintenance. Okay. So as for example, now we are planning to develop one system or one software called job recommendation system. Okay, job recommendation system, where we are asking the student to give first 3-year data, and based on that we are going to specify whether the student will get any job or not. Whether the student will get any job or not. Where we are taking the input as a CGPA, then we are taking 10th marks, then we are taking 12th marks. We are also taking the location of the student. We are also taking the branch of the student. Okay, so we are getting one requirement like that. We are getting one objective to develop one software for job recommendation system. What do you mean by that job recommendation system? Job recommendation system is we are going to develop one software that will take this value as an input. What types of value it will take? It will take CGPA, it will take 10th marks, it will take 12th marks, it will take location of the student, it will take the branch of the student, and based on that, it will predict whether the student will get a job in Microsoft or not. Something like that. Whether the student will get job in Microsoft. So you are getting one objective. What is your objective? Job recommendation system. After getting the objective, you have to collect all the requirement. You have to collect all the requirement. How to collect the requirement? We have to interact with the person who is handling this job placement. So as for example, the HOD had the good idea about the job system. Then some professor from the department and placement division head. Okay, so we are going to interact with all the three person. One is your HOD, second one is your professor from the department, and third one is your placement division head. We are going to interact with the every person, and then we are going to collect the requirement related to the Microsoft. Requirement related to the Microsoft. Okay, so this is also called the requirement gathering. You are gathering all the requirement. After gathering all the requirement, the main step will start. You have to check that whether the requirement is complete or not, whether the requirement is consistent or not, whether the requirement is complete or not, and whether the requirement is consistent or not. Complete requirement means, as for example, now assume that you have already specified that. So for the Microsoft job, we need the data related to the CGPA. We need the data related to the 10th marks, 12th marks, then location, then branch. Okay. Now assume that some students are going to give the CGPA, but some students are also giving the percentage, equivalent percentage. Okay, so some students are giving like that, my CGPA is 8.1, but when we are going to convert to the percentage, we are getting 8.1 minus 0.5 into 100. This much percentage you are getting in your bit. Okay, so 8.1 minus 0.5 into 100, what percentage you will get for 8.1? Anyone? You can use your chat box. What is the percentage equivalent to 8.1 CGPA? Anyone? I have already given the formula. You can use your chat box. Okay, so 76%. We are saying like 76%. Okay, in one case, one student is giving like that 8.1, and second student is giving like that 76%. In this case, your requirement is not complete. So just you can see why this requirement is not complete. Basically, you are developing one type of software. How we are going to develop? You are writing y equal to CGPA plus 10th marks plus 12th marks plus you are going to write like that branch for the if the student related to the computer science branch, we are giving 1. If the student related to the some other branch like electronics, we are giving 0.75. If the student related to the mechanical department, we are giving 0.25. Something like that. We are defining one formula. We are defining one formula, and based on the value of y, we are going to calculate whether the student will get job or not. Okay. Same like that, if you take another software, ATM system. In the ATM system, we are collecting the requirement, and after collecting the requirement, what we are getting like that, a user can only withdraw the amount if minimum amount is 500. If the minimum amount is 500, then the user can withdraw the amount. Otherwise, the user cannot withdraw the amount. So you are getting these types of requirement. Minimum balance is 500. Same like that, here you are getting one equation, and based on the equation, you are going to decide whether the student will get job or not. Here also like that. But you are not going to mention like that if the user minimum balance is 450, something like that, 450, then in this case, what we have to do? We already know the user can only withdraw if the balance is more than 500, at least balance is 500. But if the balance is 450, definitely it will not withdraw. But what types of message will say? What types of message will print? It is not mentioned in the requirement. So you have to check these types of requirement. You have to check whether the requirement is complete or not. So same like that here also, if the user has given the CGPA in terms of 8.1, in terms of percentage, how we will handle these types of requirement? How we will handle these types of requirement. So again, you have to interact with all the users or all the HOD or professor and placement teacher aid, and based on that, you have to decide what types of input you are expecting from the user. So basically, the student will give the input in terms of the CGPA, or the student will give input in terms of the percentage. Clear? So this is called the complete requirement. Second one is called the inconsistent, means the requirement is not consistent. So as for example, you got this types of problem is there because some students are giving the BTech mark in terms of CGPA, and some students are giving the BTech mark in terms of percentage. When you are interacting with the HOD, now he is saying like that you have to use percentage. Okay, you have to use percentage. When you are interacting with the professor, he is also saying like that you have to use percentage. But when you are interacting with the placement division head, now he is saying like that, no, you have to use the CGPA. Now this requirement is your inconsistent. Now you can see this requirement is your inconsistent. Some are saying like that you have to use percentage. Some are saying like that you have to use CGPA. So again, you have to interact with all the user and you have to decide what types of value we have to use. Either we can use the percentage or we can use the CGPA. And if you are going to consider both, then in this case, your requirement become inconsistent. That is not a consistent requirement. Your requirement become inconsistent. So first step, you have to collect all the requirement. After collecting all the requirement, you have to check whether your requirement is complete or not. Whether your requirement is complete or not. If your requirement is not complete, again you have to interact with the user, and based on that you have to complete the requirement. And after that you have to also check whether your requirement is consistent or not. If your requirement is not consistent, then you will again interact with the user and will try to consist the requirement. So same like that here also in the ATM system. What you are saying like that in the ATM system, in the requirement you have clearly mentioned like that. So user can only withdraw the amount if the user has some minimum balance. But you are not going to specify what do you mean by minimum balance. You are not going to specify what do you mean by minimum balance. So this types of requirement is called incomplete requirement. You are saying like that user can withdraw the amount if the user has minimum balance, but you are not going to clearly mention that what do you mean by minimum balance. Minimum balance is 500 or minimum balance is 1000 or minimum balance equal to 2000. You are not going to specify anything. So in this case, your requirement becomes incomplete. So first again, you will interact with the ATM person, and then based on that, you will decide what do you mean by minimum balance. Minimum balance equal to 500. When you are interacting with the ATM person, when you are interacting with the branch manager, when you are interacting with some other person, then in this case, what we are saying like that, 500 you are getting for the minimum when you are interacting with the ATM person who is handling all the ATM. Same like that when you are interacting with the branch manager, he is saying like, no, 1000 minimum. When you are interacting with the clerk, he is saying like 1500. Now you have to check your requirement is inconsistent because you are not going to specify what do you mean by minimum balance. So after getting the requirement, first you have to check whether your requirement is complete or not. If your requirement is complete, then we will check whether your requirement is consistent or not. If your requirement is consistent, then after that we'll go for the next phase, that is called the design phase. Okay. And in this lecture, we will also see about the different design phase, means how we are going to design the software. Design the software means indirectly you can also think like that. We are going to convert all text data, whatever the requirement you have written in terms of text, you are going to represent the same requirement in terms of figure. You are going to represent the same requirement in terms of figure or in terms of graph, so that the non-technical person can also understand your code or also understand your procedure. So you are going to convert the whole text data, whatever the text you are using here, the text version you are going to convert it to some image format. Okay. So in this lecture, we will also see how to convert any text or for any program, how to construct the graphical representation of that. And that is also called the flow chart. We are going to use some flow chart. Flow chart that will give you the idea how the data will flow inside the program. How the data will flow inside the program. No, so directly we cannot take the 1500 as a minimum requirement. Again, we have to interact with all the person, ATM person, then branch manager, then clerk. And then we'll see like that. So branch manager is saying like that 1500 is the minimum amount. Clerk is also saying like that 1000 is the minimum amount, but you are saying that 500 is the minimum amount. Now will tell me what is your minimum amount. Okay, again we'll interact with the branch manager. You have to mention like that. No, I have already interacted with the ATM person, and he is saying like that 500. I have already interacted with the clerk. He is also saying like 1,000. Now again you have to schedule one meeting with all the these three, and based on that you have to decide one single value. Minimum means 1,500. That is the final. Okay, minimum is 1,500. That is the final one. Okay. Same like that, after getting all the requirement, now we do that we are getting one simple requirement called addition of a number. Okay, simple requirement. I'm talking about we are already written for the requirement like that. We are going to develop one software to find the addition of two number. You are writing in the terms of text to find the addition of two number. After that, we are going to convert this whole text data in terms of some graph data. How will convert? The first step you will write like that. Now we are using some simple notation like that. First we will start. Then we will ask the user to give the input A, comma B. We will ask the user to give two input. Then we will find the sum equal to A plus B. And then we will print the value of sum. Okay. Now you can see here we have written the requirement in terms of text to find the summation of two number. But in this case, we are giving the whole procedure. Means first we will start the program. Then we will ask the user to give the two input. Two input means A and B. Then we will find the summation of these two input. And after that, we have to print the value of sum. Definitely you can say like that. This is easy way to understand as compared to the text requirement. If you are going to write the data in terms of text, and if you are going to represent the same procedure in terms of graph, then definitely the graph is more easy to understand as compared to the text person. So this is also called the flowchart diagram. That you will see that we will use the different symbol for the flowchart diagram. Yeah, we will use the different symbol or different shape for the flowchart diagram. So that we will discuss during the flowchart diagram. And based on the flowchart diagram, how to write the algorithm, that we will also discuss during the flowchart diagram. So here we are using the same notation, but during the flowchart diagram, we will discuss about if we are going to take the input, what types of notation we use. Okay. Text method means you are using the simple English language to write the whole requirement. Means you are writing like that. So if you are going to develop one software for summation of two number, then first we will ask the user to enter two number. If the user has given the two number, then in this case we go and find the summation of two number. After finding the summation of two number, we are going to print the value of summation. So we are writing the whole paragraph for this requirement. But same thing we are also going to represent in the terms of graph. Same thing we are also going to represent in terms of graph. Clear? In terms of graph. So that is the benefit of using the graphical method, because it is very easy to understand as compared to the textual method. Now after that, the next phase will start is your coding. After that, whatever the data or whatever the information that you have designed the software, after that, the next step is your coding. Now, next step we will go for the coding part, where we have to convert this whole graphical representation in terms of some language. In terms of some language means either you can use the Java language, or you can use the C language, or you can use the C++ language, or you can use the Python language. So based on the requirement, you have to use the any type of language. But in this lecture or in this subject, basically we will focus on only the computer programming, means C program. We are not going to discuss about the Java. We are not going to discuss about the C++. We are not going to discuss about the Python. So only the computer program. Means first we will get the question. After getting the question, you have to draw the flow chart for that question. And after drawing the flow chart for that question, you have to write the program. You have to write the program. Okay. So the next step is you have to convert the whole graphical representation in terms of program. Okay. After writing the program, so for example, here we have written the program like we are taking simple. We are taking two variables A and B, where we are storing the value of user. Whatever the user is giving the input, as for example, the value of A equal to 10, value of B equal to 20. Then we are finding the summation. We are creating another variable, and then we are finding 10 plus 20 equal to 30. Okay, we are finding this value, and then finally we are going to print what is the value present in this box, that is your 30. Okay, so we have written this program by using some programming language, and here we are using the C programming language. After written this code, then we'll go for the next phase, that is called the testing phase, and that is also very expensive phase. So as for example, if you are going to take the total budget of the software is 100, out of 100 only the 40% of total budget we are only putting on testing phase. Okay, that is to test the software, to remove all the faults present in your software. In the coding phase, we are only putting the 20% effort, or 20% budget we are only giving for the coding, but the 40% budget we are only giving for the testing. The testing itself will contain the 40% of total budget. Okay, then why they challenging? The question is why the testing is more challenging. If you have written any code, why this testing is more challenging? So as for example, now it would that if you have written the code like that, int a comma b, simple, I am writing the simple code. Then we are writing summation a plus b, and then we are writing printf s, simple like that. Okay. Now, how to test this software? Anyone can tell me what is the procedure we will follow to test this software, whether this software is giving the right result or not? Okay, whether this software is giving the right result or not. Other money will go for the requirement analysis, then it will go for the coding, design, then it will also go for the deployment. So rest 40%, 20% coding, 40% testing, 60% rest will go for the other things. Okay, so now in this case, just you can see if you, yes, we have to run this code to test that. So as for example, now we're doing that simple, I'm writing one code, simple code I'm writing here, just you can see. So I'm writing one simple code. Then we will discuss how to write the code in C. So I'm writing here one simple code called simple C. And we will discuss how we are writing this code, and we will discuss. So now you can see, so I have written one simple code, okay, that will discuss how to write the code, what do we mean by hash equal distribute.a, what do we mean by int main, why we are writing here integer a comma b, why we are using the scanf function, why we are using the printf function, what is the return type of scanf, what is the return type of printf function, that we will discuss when we will discuss for the scanf and printf function. But now currently we will only assume like that, this is our program that is used to calculate the summation of number. How to check that whether this program is logically correct? How to check that whether this program is logically correct or not? Okay, compiling the code means basically you are going to remove some syntax error. You are going to check if there is any syntax error present in your code or not. And if there is no any syntax error present in your code, then we are going to convert this code to some language where the computer can understand. So as for example, the computer can only understand the binary language. So compiler is one process to convert any high level language to low level language, that is called the binary language. That we'll see how to convert the high level language to low level language. Okay, so compiler means basically we are going to check if there is any syntax error present in your code or not. If there is any syntax error, it will give you the idea about the syntax error. And after the syntax error, if there is no any syntax error, then it will convert this high level language to low level language. So it will convert the whole program in terms of 0 and 1. Okay. Now the question is how we can check this program is logically correct or not. What we can do? We can take some test data. Okay. Manually we will take some test data. So as for example, we will take 5 and 6. If the input is 5 and 6, what is the output? Anyone? What is the output? If the input is 5 and 6, what is the output of this code? Anyone? If the input is 5 and 6, the output is 11. So we are taking 5, one input here, 5, second one here, 6. So we are getting 11. There is no any problem. After that, we will go for another test case. We will take 0 and 1, something like that. 0 and 1. If you are taking 0 and 1, what is the output you will get? 0 and 1, it is coming 1. How many test cases we can use? Anyone can you tell me how many test cases we can use here? Anyone? To prove that this program is logically correct. How many test cases we can use? Infinity test case you cannot use. If you are going to use the infinity test cases, then in this case, you need the infinity time to test the system. Your time is very limited. You have to test the system within a 1 day. Then it is not possible to take the infinite number of test cases. It is not possible to take the infinite number of test cases. Okay. So here you can see the tool is also not enough test cases. Now you can see if you are going to check the simple A. Okay. And if A is your integer, that has some limit, that has some range. Okay. That we'll see during the number system. What is the range of integer? But now assume that only will understand like that. If we are taking the range of integer is minus 2 to the power 15 to 2 to the power 15 minus 1. Simple like that. If we are taking the range of the integer can take any value between minus 2 to the power 15 to 2 to the power 15 minus 1. Okay. Now will tell me how many test cases we will consider to test this program to find the summation of number. Maximum we can consider 3 test cases, 4 test cases, 5 test cases, or we can go for the 10 or 20 different test cases. Okay. But can we say it is possible to check for every value of A? Can we say in the finite time it is possible to check for every value of A? Can we say? Is it possible to check for every value of A? Because the value of A is coming minus 2 to the power 15 to 2 to the power 15 minus 1. Means if we are going for every possible value, we get the infinite number of value, and it is not possible to test in finite time. But if we are not checking, just try to answer. If we are not testing for every value of A, can you give the guarantee like that my software is 100% fault free? Can you give the guarantee like that my software is 100% fault free? No, we cannot give the guarantee like that my software is 100% fault free. This is also one problem with the testing, because it is not possible to test for the every combination of value. That's why we are going to discuss for the different type of testing techniques. So in the software engineering, we'll get the idea about different type of testing techniques, how to test the system so that we can ensure that maximum faults are already removed. We can ensure like that, but we cannot claim like that my software is 100% fault free. Even not a single company is claiming like that my software is 100% fault free. Yes, basically this is a simple program. We are taking the simple summation of number A plus B. But when you are working for the complex problem, how to write the test case? This is a simple program. We are writing A is equal to A plus B. But when you are working for the complex problem, that in this case, how to write the test case? So that is also very challenging. So within a limited time, you have to test the software and have to claim like that my software is fault free. My software is fault free. If your software is fault free, the next step your deployment. We are going to deploy the software with some hardware. So we are going to deploy the software with some hardware, and after that the maintenance phase will start. So after deployment, if any type of problem, any type of faults are coming, then we will work for the next version of the system. We are working for the next version of the software. So that is also called the maintenance phase. So next version means whatever the faults present in your previous version, you have to fix all the faults, you have to fix all the error, you have to fix all the problem, and after that you have to release the version number 2, software version number 2, where you have to also add some new functionality to the previous software. So initially you have written one software to calculate the summation of number. In the next version, you are going to handle all the problem that arises from the summation of the number, and we are also going to add some new functionality like that. Now the software is also able to calculate the value difference of two number, multiplication of two number, and division of two number, and division of two number, something like that. So this is the overall software development process. First one, your requirement analysis. What do you mean by requirement analysis? First, you have to collect the requirement. After collecting the requirement, you have to check that whether the requirement is complete and consistent or not. Complete the requirement means, anyone can tell me what do you mean by complete requirement? Your requirement is complete. Anyone? So as for example, minimum balance, but you are not going to specify that what do you mean by minimum balance. So that is your incomplete requirement. Now you have to also check whether the requirement is consistent or not. Consistent means minimum requirement has single value, not the multiple value. That is called the consistent requirement. And the requirement analysis will also go for the feasibility analysis. You have to check whether this requirement is feasible or not. Feasible means based on this budget, can we develop this requirement or not? Can we implement this requirement or not? And if we are going to implement this requirement, then we can say our requirement is financially feasible. Okay. Same like that, you have to check whatever the software or whatever the hardware available in the market. Based on this hardware, can we implement this requirement or not? And if we are going to implement this requirement, then we can say our requirement is technically feasible. Okay. So in the requirement analysis, basically you have to check the 4 steps. First one, whether your requirement is complete or not, whether your requirement is consistent or not. After that, you have to check your budget. Within this budget, can we deploy or can we implement this requirement or not? And whatever the technology, whatever the hardware or software available in the market, based on the hardware and software, can we implement this requirement or not? That is also called the technically feasible. After getting all the things, then we'll go for the design phase. Design phase means the same thing, whatever the requirement you have written in terms of text, you have to convert the same requirement in terms of figure, so that the non-technical person can also understand your process, also understand your working procedure. After that, we'll go for the development or coding, where you can use any type of programming language to code the program. Then we'll go for the testing. We will use the different types of testing procedure to test the program to prove that whether our program is fault free or not. Then we'll go for the deployment. After deployment, if any type of problem is coming, then we'll work for the next version of the system, and that is also called the maintenance phase of the system. That is also called the maintenance phase of the system. Clear? So if you have any question related to any steps or any phase, then please ask. These are the basic points. If you have any question, then please ask. Okay. Now, after that, there are two types of softwares are there. One is called the system software, and second one is called the application software. So, system software, basically, we are designing to manage the resources of your system, means hardware resources. That is called the system software. So, as for example, operating system, that is called the system software, and that is designed for general purpose. That is designed for the general purpose. So if you are going to install the Windows 10 in your system, it is possible to manage all the resources like that, compiler, linker, loader, and all the hardware, whatever the hardware related to your system, it will manage all the hardware. That is called the system software. If you are talking about the application software, that is designed for a specific purpose, not for the general purpose. So if you need the software for computer programming, you have to install the GCC. If you need the software for the Java, you have to install the Java development kit. If you need the software for the Python, you have to install the Anaconda. If you need the system for the video player, you have to install the VLC. So this is called the application software. For a particular application, we are going to install one software, that is called the application software, and we are going to develop one software, that is called the application software. But the system software mainly designing for to handle the hardware resources, that is called the system software. If you are going to discuss about how the user is interacting with the hardware, the user is not directly interacting with the hardware. The user is interacting the hardware through the application software, and even the application software is also not directly interacting with the hardware. They are interacting through the system software, and the system software is managing all the hardware. System software is managing all the hardware. Yes, antivirus is also, you can consider, if the inbuilt antivirus is there, you can also consider as a system software. If you are taking inbuilt antivirus, you can also consider as a system software. But if you are going to design the antivirus for a specific purpose, for a specific type of malware, then you can consider as an application software. You can consider as an application software. Clear? So if you are going to design the antivirus, that will handle or that will manage or that will secure all the resources, all the hardware, that is called the system software. But when you are going to design for a specific purpose, that is called the application software. Microsoft Defender, I think this is a Microsoft Defender means what you are saying. You say antivirus, I have no any idea about the Microsoft Defender. Yes, whatever the software you are going to download for a specific application, that is called the application software. Driver software you can consider as a system software. Driver software is a system software. If you are talking about the Microsoft Office, that is your application software. Window inbuilt antivirus is your system software. System software. Clear? So anyone, any doubt in system software and application software? Anyone, any doubt in system software and application software? Okay. Now, after this course, at least we will get the idea about how to develop algorithm or flowchart. Flowchart or algorithm, you already got the idea. Flowchart and algorithm means how to convert the text requirement in the graphical format, that is called the flowchart. And same thing you are writing the point-wise, that is called the algorithm. After that, we will also discuss how to write the computer programming, the C programming for that flowchart algorithm, and how to execute this programming and how to test that whether your software is fault free or not. So that we will also discuss how to write the test cases, and based on that, how to claim that your software is fault free or not. Okay. And then after that, we will also discuss what are the components that is responsible to execute any software or execute any software. This is the importance why we are going for the computer programming, because this is a very simple language. This is a very simple language. We are using only 32 keywords, that is called the fixed word. You cannot use for the general purpose. So these are the 32 keywords that we are using in the C programming. If you are going for the Java, we are using 61 keywords. If you are going for C++, we are using the 60 different keywords. Okay, so keywords means pre-reserved words. Okay, you cannot use for your general purpose. So, for example, auto you cannot use for the general purpose. Double you cannot use for the general purpose, because these are the keywords, these are the pre-reserved words, and that has some meaning. So you cannot use for the general purpose. And C is relatively easy to learn. Okay, as compared to the Java, as compared to the C++, it is very easy to learn. Okay. So up to here, anyone, any doubt in software development life cycle? Second one is your application software, system software. Anyone, any doubt? If you have any doubt, then again we will discuss. Anyone, any doubt related to the software development life cycle and related to the computer software? Means what types of softwares are there? There are two varieties of the software. One is called the system software, and second one is called the application software. Okay. Now, next one is very important, the language. What are the different types of language? Okay. One is called the machine level language, that is also called the low level language. Second one is called the assembly language, and third one is called the high level language. Okay. So low level language means you are writing the program in terms of 0 and 1, because the computer can only understand 0 and 1. It will not understand any other value. As for example, if you are going to write 5, you can also write the 5 as a binary number. That will see how to convert 5 to the binary number. But now we do that if you are writing to see a 4, 2, we are not taking 5. 1, 0, 1. You can also write 1, 0, 1, or you can also write 5. Okay, you can also write 1, 0, 1, or you can also write 5. The computer can only understand 1, 0, 1. It will not understand 5, because this is your decimal number, and computer can only understand the binary number or only 0 and 1. Okay, so machine level language means you are writing the program in terms of 0 and 1, and that is not possible for human. The human cannot write the program in terms of 0 and 1, but the computer can only understand the code or understand the instruction in terms of 0 and 1. That's why here we are using the different type of translator. Translator means that is basically used to translate your high level language to low level language. That is used to translate whatever the program you are writing here. Just you can see whatever the program you are writing here, that is called your high level language. That is simple to your English language. We are writing here similar to your English language, and anyone can directly understand this language. But when you are writing here, compile is just like one translator that is going to translate your high level language to low level language. High level language to low level language. Okay. So you can understand the compiler is just like a one type of translator that is used to convert your high level language to low level language. Now, nowadays, whatever the compiler is coming, that has the inbuilt assembler. Okay. So what I'm saying like that, compiler is, what is the use of compiler? It will convert the high level language to your low level language. Low level language means basically you are writing the program in terms of 0 and 1. That is called the low level language. Second one is called the assembly language. Assembly language means that has some fixed keyword. You can only use those keywords to write the assembly language. So as for example, if you are going to add two numbers, simply you have to use one keyword called add a, comma. If you are writing add a, comma b, that is similar to a equal to a plus b. That is similar to a equal to a plus b. Means first you have to find the summation of two numbers and you have to store in a. Okay, so that has the fixed number of keyword, and you can only use this keyword to write the program. For the simple program, the assembler is good, but when you are writing the complex program, it is very difficult to write the program in assembly level language. So this is called the assembly level language. And again, if you need to convert the assembly level language to low level language, we are using assembler to convert the assembly level language to your low level language. But nowadays, whatever the compiler is coming, that will convert your directly high level language to low level language. Means inbuilt assembler is there. Previously, what is there? If you are using the compiler, that will take high level language. It will convert to the assembly language, and then the assembler will take as an input, and it will convert to the low level language. That is the terms of 0 and 1. Okay, so high level language means, no, C is your high level language. C is not the mid level language. C is your high level language. High level language is normal English language we are using to write the program. Here you can see, if you are going to check this program, it will look like a English language. It will look like a English language. But when you are using the low level language, you are writing the program in terms of 0 and 1. And when you are using the assembly language, you have to use some fixed keyword. That will not look like as a English language. Okay. Yeah, machine level language and low level language both are same. There is no any difference between machine level language and low level language. There is no any difference between machine level language and low level language. Both are same. Okay. So as for example, now you can see how we are going to write. As for example, just you can see, if you are writing high level language, we have to write a plus b. Just you can see. You can see a plus b. This is your high level language, simple language. If you are writing assembly, we have to write add a b. Okay. If you are going to write the same thing, if you are going to write same thing in the lower level language, we are writing 0, 1, 0, 0, something like that. We are not writing the exact one, but it will look like that 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, something like that. It will look like that. It will look like that. Where it is very difficult to understand, where it is very difficult to read and very difficult to understand. This is called the low level language. This is called the assembly language, and this is called the high level language. Okay, high level language means assembly language will come under both, which you can say like the mid level language. You can say like the mid level language. It is not a high level language. It is also not a low level language. It will come at the middle. It will come at the middle. No, you cannot say like the intermediate. Previously, before the high level language, we are only using the assembly language. We are using the assembly language. If you are going for the 9060, 9070, that time we are using the assembly language. We are not using the high level language. We are not using the high level language. But nowadays, we are only using the high level language. We are only using the high level language. Okay. Now you can see, Your C is your high level language. C is your high level language. So you are writing the program in high level language, but your computer can only understand the low level language. Means you need one translator. You need one translator that will translate your high level language to low level language. Okay. So there are basically two category of translators are there. One is called the compiler and second one is called the interpreter. Okay. Second one is called the interpreter. Okay. So compiler means at a time it will compile the whole code. At a time it will compile the whole code, and if there is no any syntax present in your code, automatically it will generate your low level language. So if you are going to check here, if you are going to compile this code and if you are going to check here, then you will get this is your low level language. You can say like that. After compiling this code, it will generate one .exe file, and if you are going to check the internal structure of the .exe file, then it is basically written in terms of low level language. It was written in terms of low level language. Okay, so there are two different ways to convert the high level language to low level language. One is called the compiler and second one is called the interpreter. Compiler means at a time it will check whole program and it will convert to your low level language. But in the case of interpreter, it will go line by line. First, it will check the first line. If there is no any syntax error, then it will execute the first line. Then it will go for the second line. Then it will go for the third line. It will go for the fourth line. It will go for the fifth line. As for example, just you can see. As for example, just because I'm giving some simple example. We are writing here print hello, then print bits. Okay, print hello and print bits. We are writing something like that. Print hello and print bits. This is just like a Python line. Okay, here you can see it will execute line by line. Just you can see if you are going to check here, it will check the first one and then it will go for the second one. So here you can write like that single line of code. You can write like the single line of code and it will execute line by line. It will execute line by line. It will execute line by line. But it is not the case of your computer program. If there is any syntax error present in your code, it will execute the whole code at a time. Basically, we are using the compiler here. But when you are going for the Python, basically it is using the concept called interpreter. It is using one concept called interpreter where it is executing single line by line, and after that it is going to check if there is any syntax error present in your code or not. Okay, so this is the main difference between the compiler and interpreter. But here in this code, we are only using the compiler. Compiler means at a time it will check the whole code. If there is any syntax error present in this code, then it will give you the idea about the syntax error. And if there is no any syntax error present in your code, then in this case, it will give you the object file. It will give you the low level language. It will give you the translator low level language. So this is the main difference between the high level language and the low level language. Clear? High level language means you are writing the program in terms of binary, in terms of 0 and 1. That is called the high level language or machine level language. And for human, it is not possible to write the program in terms of 0 and 1. Even it is not possible to understand the code written in 0 and 1. 0 and 1. Same like that, if you are going for the assembly language program, then in this case, it has some fixed words. It has some fixed word. Okay, and you can only use those words or fixed keywords to write the program. So, as for example, instead of writing add this one, because if you are going for the low level language, in terms of add, you have to write 1011 011. Instead of writing this binary language, you can use one keyword called add. You can use one keyword called add. Now we'll tell you which one is easy to write. If you are going to write this one or if you are going to write this one, add or binary language, which one is easy to write or which one is easy to understand? Definitely add is your easy to understand. Okay, so this is something closer to your machine level language. This is something closer to your machine level language. Okay, and here basically we are using the assembler that will convert your high level language to your machine level language. It is equivalent to your. Yes, Yes, compiler will show where is your mistake, but that is only the syntax mistake, not the logical mistake. So, as for example, if you are going to remove this semicolon, that is your syntax error. If you are going to export it, will give you there is a semicolon missing in your code. But when you are doing some logical mistake, your requirement is to write the program to find the solution of number. But when you are writing a minus b, and if you are going to compile this code, it will easily compile because it will not able to find the logical mistake. This type of problem is called logical problem or logical error. So there are two types of errors are there. One is called the syntax error. Compiler will only handle the syntax error. It will check that whether the syntax of this program is correct or not. But the second one is called the logical error. If you are making the mistake, logical mistake. So as for example, here you have written your requirement is to write the summation of two number, but instead of writing plus, you have written minus. This types of problem not handled by the compiler. This types of problem not handled by the compiler. Now the next one is most important thing. The low-level language. Low-level language means whatever the machine language you are writing in one system, that will also depend upon the system. Means it is not like that. Whatever the machine level language you have written for this system, it will not run for another system. So it will totally system dependent. You can say like that. It's totally system dependent, but it is not in the case of high level language. High level language can run in any system. It is not like that. If you are changing the system, you have to change the code. That is the main difference between machine level language and high level language. Okay. That will look like that. That is the .exe file. That will look like that. Because you are using some text document, that has also some features. But mainly, whatever the .exe file is there, that is indirectly in terms of 0 and 1. That is indirectly in terms of 0 and 1. Okay. Now, next one, your assembler. What is the use of assembler? To convert the assembly language to machine level language. And high level language, in case of high level language, we are using the compiler. Or also called the translator, that will translate your high level language to low level language. Okay. So in the next class, we will start from your machine level language, assembly language, and high level language. And after that, we will start the most important part, how we are going to convert this high level language to low level language. The whole working procedure of your C programming. After completion of first slide, then I will upload the slide. Okay. No, just you can see. Previously it was there. Previously, whatever the compiler is coming, that will convert your high level language to assembly language. And then the assembly language means assembler will convert the assembly language to low level language. But nowadays, whatever the compiler is coming, that has the inbuilt assembler. Okay, that will automatically convert your high level language to low level language. You cannot say like that. If you are going to say interpreter is better, but interpreter will also take some time, because interpreter will execute line by line, but the compiler is not like that. So if you are going for the working time, then the compiler will take less time to translate the language. Okay. Recorded lecture we will start from today. So maybe after the class, within 1 hour, I will upload in the Google Classroom. How we can identify the logical error through the test cases? We are going to write the test cases to identify the logical error. Yeah, please ask. Whatever your question, just put in the chat box. Lower level, I have mentioned that low level language cannot work for other system. Okay, because it has designed for the single system. High level language will work for the other system. Okay, the difference between compiler and interpreter is compiler at a time it will take the whole code, and it will translate to your, it will take the whole code and then it will translate to your low level language. But if you are going for the interpreter, it will go line by line. First line it will translate, second line it will translate, third line, fourth line, fifth line, something like that. Here you can see if you are writing 2 lines, first it will convert, second it will convert, something like that. So that is called the interpreter.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, each computer has its own unique low-level language, something like that. The architectures are a little bit different, you can say.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, I can't still understand the difference between compiler and interpreter. So, like,
Yeah.
either ways, even if it is a compiler and it's going through the entire program at once, it
Yes.
still needs to go through line by line, right?
No,
So how
entire once means what I'm saying. Entire once means just you can see. It will check the it will go with the like that. It is not like that. It will go line by line. It has the different procedure. Okay, it has the different procedure. Okay, you cannot say like the line by line, but it will take the whole code at a time. It will take the whole code at a time, and it will check for whole code. If there is any syntax error present in any line of code, then it will give you the idea like that there is something problem in your whole code. But it is not in the case of interpreter. Interpreter means it will check the first code. If there is no any problem, it will give you the object code. It will check the second code. If there is no any problem, it will give you the object code. If this third code, if there is no any problem, it will give you the object code. But in the case of compiler, it will only give you the object code if there is no any error present in your whole code. Are you getting my point? If there is no any error present in your whole code, then it will give you the object code. That is the main difference between the interpreter and compiler. Clear?
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, antivirus is like not exactly related to hardware, right? So how
No,
are
I
you classifying?
I have already mentioned. If you are talking about the antivirus, that is going to manage all the resources, means that is going to protect the security for all the resources, all the hardware resources, then you can consider a system software. But if you are designing the antivirus for a specific purpose, okay, that is called the application software.
Okay, sir.
Okay, directly you cannot say like that this is a system software. Okay, if the compiler is more faster, then why we are going to use the interpreter? You already know why we are using. What is the disadvantage of compiler? Okay, if there is any mistake present in your code, now assume that you are writing the program. You are writing the program 1,000 line of code you are writing. Okay, now assume that if there is something problem present in your 1,000th line, okay, the last line, okay, if you are using interpreter, it will give you the object code for all 999 lines, and it will only give you the not the object code for the last one because there is syntax error. Next time when you are going to execute, you will only execute the last line. There is no need to execute the whole line at a time. But when you are using the compiler, again you have to execute the whole line at a time. That is the main difference. No, it will give you the line. It will give you the line. This line, the error is present. The compiler will give you the line number. This line, the error is present.
Sir, then
Yes.
what would be the difference between compiler and interpreter if it is exactly showing where the error is?
Just you can see, you are not getting the point. Compiler means what I'm saying like that. Compiler means it will take the whole code. Okay, it will take the whole code at a time. It will consider the whole code as a single unit. Okay, whole code as a single. Okay, and it will convert to your object code. It will also give you the line number. There is no error. The problem which is starting here now is that if there is something problem present in this, okay, something problem, syntax error present in this. If you are using the interpreter, it will execute this 5 line of code and it will give you the 6th line of code. There is error is present. Next time when you are going to execute, there is no need to execute the 5 line of code. You will only execute the 6th one and 7th one. You will only execute the 6th one and 7th one. It will only execute the 6th one and 7th one. But when you are going for the compiler, if you are going to fix the code, again it will start from 1 to 8. Again it will start from 1 to 8. Okay. Now the question it is coming: why the compiler program runs faster than the interpreter? Okay. Okay. Now you can see in the compiler what it is doing like that. First, it is going to check if there is any syntax error is there or not. Then it will convert the file. Then it will convert the file. Okay. Something like that. Now assume that someone will ask you the simple question. Someone will ask you to transfer, just tell me, if someone will ask you to transfer 4 chairs from this room to this room, A to B. Okay. Now, first step, you are taking the 4 chairs at a time and you are going to the second room. And second step, you are taking first chair going to the second room, second chair going to the second room, third chair, fourth chair. Now we'll tell you which one will take less time. Which one will take less time? This is a simple question. Now someone will ask you to transfer 4 chairs from room number A to B. Okay. Now one step, what you are taking? First, you are taking the first chair, then you are going for this room. Second, you are taking the second chair, you are going to this room. Third, you are taking the third chair, you are going to this room. Fourth, you are taking this chair, you are going to this room. Okay. Now second case, what you are taking? You are taking all 4 chairs, then you are coming to this. Okay, this is the compiler. If you are going through this one, this is called the interpreter. Which one will take more time? Which one will take more time? Definitely, if you are going to carry the single chair. Now, the difference you can see, the difference, you have transferred this chair to this room. Now, okay, there is no any problem. You have transferred this chair to this room. There is no any problem. When you are going to third chair, now it is saying like there is something mistake in this chair. We cannot accept this chair. Again, you will come to here and you will transfer new chair. Then it will say, yes, there is no any problem in this chair. It will accept this chair and next it will accept. But when you are using the compiler, you have to take 4 chairs at a time. You will go to this room. It will check all the 4 chairs. If there is any mistake in any chair, now it will not accept any chairs. Again, you will come to your room. Again, you will take the next 4 chairs. Again, you will come to this one. That is the main difference between compiler and interpreter. I think your concept becomes clear. Yes, I have already mentioned. It will convert line by line. Now you can see. These are the chairs present in your room. This is the room. First, you are taking first chair. You are coming to this one. Yes, there is no any mistake. It will accept this chair. Second chair, there is no any mistake. It will accept. Third chair, there is a mistake. Again, it will come to this point. You have to modify the chair. Again, it will accept. There is no any mistake. And fourth one accept. This is your interpreter. Compiler means 4 chairs are there. You will take all 4 chairs at a time. You will come to this place. Yes, there is something mistake in there. Again, you have to take all 4 chairs. You will come to this, modify the chair. Again, it will come to this one. You will check. Yes, there is no any problem. Then it will accept. That is the main difference between compiler and interpreter. That's why it will take less time in the case of compiler. Both compiler and interpreter have inbuilt assembler. Yes, that's why I have already mentioned. That's why the compiler is a little bit faster as compared to interpreter. In the C, it is using compiler. C using compiler, not the interpreter. C using compiler. The programming concept is totally based on compiler, but if you are going for Python, Python using interpreter. Python using interpreter. Yes, it is like that. If the error present in the third chair, it will not accept the fourth chair until you have to fix the third chair. You can say like that. You can say like that. Okay, thank you.
Sir?
Yeah.
So I'll just say something. Please tell me if I'm correct or not.
Okay, tell me.
In case a program has a loop in it, all right,
Okay.
and the condition for the loop is all correct. Let's say some number is lesser than the other one or something like that.
Yes.
But the loop is somehow going to be an infinite loop.
Yes.
We don't know if it is going to be or not, and let's say it will be. In case of an interpreter, it will go through each condition. Let us say it will say that A is lesser than B and everything like that.
I have already mentioned. The compiler and interpreter only detect the syntax error, not the logical error. If your loop is going to the infinite, then this is a logical mistake, not the syntax mistake.
So, but if it is going to be infinite, won't the compiler know that it is
No.
wrong? Because
No. The compiler will not give you any idea, because in many scenarios we are using the infinite loop. In many
Alright.
scenarios we are using the infinite loop.
So,
It will
because
go
I
to the
thought
infinite.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
No, what I'm saying like that's why, for example, if you are working for IoT device where you are going to detect the vehicle number, okay, then in this case you are going to start the system for infinite loop. It will go to the infinite time, and every day it will collect the data and it will give you the data. So it will go for the infinite time. So infinite means there is something logical mistake, not the syntax mistake. Syntax means you are not going to follow the proper procedure to write the program. That is called the syntax mistake. And compiler interpreter both can only detect the syntax error, not the logical error. Logical error you can only detect using the testing technique. You can write some test cases, and based on the test cases, you have to identify that whether your program is logically correct or not.
So why I thought so is because that you said कि, compiler is going to take the entire program at once and then tell whether it is correct or not.
So the compiler will not execute the code. Right?
I thought it is going to execute.
No. It will only convert the high level language to low level language. After that, if you are going to execute the code, then you have to click the run.
So then, how come there is a difference between interpreter and compiler? Even if it is taking the entire program at like the process is going to be linear, right? One line after the other. It's not, even if you take the entire program, it's going to go through one line after the other. So what's the splitting difference between interpreter and a compiler then?
Just you can see. Now assume that here in the compiler is totally C is totally compiler based. If you are going to write the summation of two number, okay, summation of two number, how you are writing the program has an int main. If you are going to remove this two line, the next time it will not work like that. It will not store this value. But same like that if you are going for the Python, just you can see what we are writing. We are writing simple like that, input or simple like that. You are taking A equal to 6, executed. A equal to 8, executed. B equal to 7, executed. Now we are finding sum equal to A plus B, executed. Now we are writing print, bracket, you are writing sum. Okay, there is some syntax error. Now you can see syntax error there. Now we are going to fix this error, completed 50. Okay, now you can see this concept is called the interpreter concept. But when we are going to the compiler, if you are going to remove this one, something like that, if you are going to compile it, just to compile it, it will give you the error. If you are going to fix this error, again, if you are going to compile it, again, it will compile for whole code. It will not compile for single line of code. But that is the difference between in the interpreter. What will happen? If it is successfully completed, there is no need to change the code. There is no need to change the code. This is the main difference between interpreter and compiler.
So even if there's a difference between a program which we are running through an interpreter,
No,
we
there is
still
no
need to change the code, right? I mean,
but which code we are changing? Just you can see, we are only executing this one. Now I do that. This code is taking 10 minutes time to execute. Because if you are working for some machine learning domain, it is taking 10 minutes time. It is also taking 10 minutes time. It is also taking 10 minutes time to translate and execute. It is also taking 10 minutes time. Now I assume that. Okay, and it is also taking 10 minutes time. Okay, if now you do that, there is something error present in your 13 line of code. Can you tell me after fixing this error how much time it will take to execute? 10 plus 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 plus 10, 60 minutes. Means it will take 1 hour. But when you are going to modify again the whole code, can you tell me how much time it will take? That is the main difference.
For interpreter, it stops right where the error is, and the next time when we change it, it goes back to that point and again continues with it, right?
Yes.
And the compiler has to go through the program again and again.
Again, it will go from the starting point. It will go from the starting point. Means if you are using the compiler, again it will start from 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And it doesn't matter if it is an interpreter or a compiler, it will never execute the program altogether just to see if it is correct or not, right?
It will never execute like that. Means if first it will check if there is any syntax error is there, it will not execute. These are only the translator. It will not going to execute. These are only the translator. Yeah, please ask.
So the only way to find logical mistakes is to run cases, right?
Yes,
There's
to
no
run the
software
cases, to run the test cases.
There's no software which can do that for us.
Sorry?
There's no software or program that can do that for us.
No, not the software. We are using some advanced machine learning technique to generate the test cases, to generate the automatic test cases.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so why do some languages use like compilers and other languages use interpreters?
That will totally depend upon the requirement. That will totally depend upon the requirement. So if you are going for the Python, that is basically designed for the data science. Okay. So in the data science, there are some tasks are there that will take at least 1 hour time, 2 hour time to achieve. Okay. And if you are using the compiler type of concept, and after 2 hours, if you are getting the problem, then again you are going to execute the same task. Again, it will take the huge time.
Again,
So
2 hours extra.
Yeah, again it will take the 2 hours. Okay, because you have to execute again the same thing. But when you are using the interpreter, it is not like that. You have already executed the 2 hours. Next time it is not like that. You have to execute again for 2 hours.
Yes, sir.
That is the main difference.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Yes.
so what is the difference between assembly and high level language?
Assembly and high level language I have already mentioned. High level language means you are writing the program in terms of 0 and 1. Computer can only understand 0 and 1. Okay.
So
at
high
the
level.
high level language. Okay, that is also called the low level language. Okay, so at the starting of the computer, 1955, we are talking about that time, we are using only the low level language or machine level language. Okay, low level language or machine level language, 0 and 1. But if you are going to check, it's very difficult to write any code in machine level language. That's why the researcher has proposed the assembly language, where instead of writing 0 and 1, you can use some keyword like add, sum. If you are going to 0, 1, 1, 1, instead of writing this one, you can use sum. If you are going to write multiplication, instead of writing 0 and 1, you will use MUL, multiplication, something like that. That is called the assembly language. Okay. After assembly language, it will also jump like that. This is also very lazy to write. If you are writing the very big program, it is very difficult to write the code. That's why the researcher had proposed the high level language. That is similar to your English language. Okay. When you are going to check, it will look like an English language. Okay. So that is called the high level language. But the problem remains same because the computer can only understand the low level language, will not understand the high level language. Okay. So in this case, they have proposed some translator, that is called compiler interpreter. Okay. That is used to translate your high level language to low level language. That's the main objective. Clear?
So I
Yeah.
still can't understand the